Welcome to Teaching Orchestra. In this video, we're going to go over some of the common problems that I hear with Honor and Glory by Soon-Hee Newbold. Common problem number 1, not keeping the weight down on the long bows. If the students don't have good weight on their long bows, they make a weak sound. The sound out on beat 4. Why am I getting bleeped for? Oh yes, because of the YouTube algorithm. Okay, the sound fades. Is that better? All right, so I'm gonna need to update my vocabulary. Common problem number 2, the measure 18 balance. Low strings need to play closer to the bridge and upper strings need to play closer to the fingerboard. This is not melody. This is melody. So we have to adjust our bowing lanes to help the sound come out in the low strings and to help the upper string sounds blend. Also, try to get your first violins to use fourth finger. The open E probably won't blend, and we're crossing strings for no reason if we're playing open E and open A. Common problem number 3, measure 35. Measure 36. We get some C string notes on the violas here, and we don't usually have a lot of practice here on the C string. Like cellists will get here and they'll say, wow, we only covered this like in a page or a half a page in our method book, and I'm not really sure what these notes are. So we need to get them familiar with the notes, make sure, that it says 4, but we need to make sure that they know what's going on, even though they have the fingerings. And we also need to make sure that they're putting down enough weight on these strings. In a lot of the method books, they play on the higher strings, the D strings, the A strings, because it's homogeneous and they don't tend to play on the C strings. And you can get away with not using enough weight or enough grip on the string, playing on the upper strings. If you use that same technique on the lower strings and you don't have enough weight or grip to activate the string, it's going to sound really bad. Common problem number 4, the pizzicato in measure 53. All right, this is a grade 1 piece, so we have obligatory pizzicato here. So watch out. These tend to rush. Make sure your students are pulling back the string and setting the finger before the next note. You have to make sure that that's a 3-step process. Set the finger, pull back the string, and release. All 3. If they're cutting corners, they're going to rush. This is going to get out of hand, and then we might have some phasing issues here, and that would be really not good, especially at the concert, right? You don't want your orchestra falling apart at the concert, and that pizzicato section is a really easy place for it to happen. Common problem number 5, getting back to the arco. So after all this pizzicato stuff, your violoncello bass need to get back to arco here. And sometimes, especially for beginners, going from pizzicato to arco can be challenging. And there's a couple reasons for this. The first reason being that it's because they modify their bow hold in order to brace their thumb on their instrument and all this other stuff. And they just don't have enough time to get back. And some of them, they just don't have the dexterity to do it. So here's a trick that you can do. You can alternate inside outside. So you can have your outside players can skip this note on beat 4 and prepare for the arco. And your inside players can skip the first arco note or come in here. That'll make it easier for everybody. They don't have to play every note. You can alternate and make it easier for them. Common problem number 6, the last note of Honor and Glory, students tend to run out of bow. And I like to have my students just free bow. All right. Yes, you want to play this diminuendo, but you also want to have enough bow to get to the very end instead of cutting the note short. Make sure the students support their tone with bow speed, even with a diminuendo. Support that tone. All right, we also want to do a dramatic ritardando And so free bowing will help with that too. Here's the ritardando. Here, what I do is I just kind of treat this as a fermata and I just kind of hold it out and free bow. And with my right hand, I continue that motion with my left hand. I'll fade them out and release. Common problem number 7. Hey, did you know that the piano part uses a different rhythm in measure 9? Let's look at it. I guess this only applies if you're using a piano accompaniment part, but hey, take a look. There's a dotted quarter note here, which doesn't line up. These are rearticulated. So that might confuse your players, especially if your accompanist is only coming in for the concert or you don't get a lot of rehearsal time with your piano player. So what I would probably do is just I would have them break this up into quarter note, eighth note, just kind of like how we do in the violin viola part. Having a different rhythm might confuse your beginners, and trust me, they don't need that. I'm not sure why it's not the same and why there's a change in the rhythm there, but trust me, if you're using a piano part, change it, all right? Well, that's it for my episode on Honor and Glory, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one.